While Qatar stages a global theater of libel against Israel, stripping away the horrors of October 7th, a more powerful document has surfaced. Behind the masks in Doha, mediators have become prosecutors, trying to force a surrender. But Israel has a strategic trump card they didn't count on. Let's dive in. So, first of all, I just have to say that I recently came back from a 3-week trip in Brazil, working together with many wonderful people on restoring the Jewish groups of the Anusim and on teaching them and studying Torah and God's Word together with Joe and Barry and Beth. And I had a lot of wonderful steaks, and now I'm back. Recently, many countries met at the Doha Forum 2025 for what could only be described as a global theater of delegitimization of Israel. The atmosphere is purely hostile, designed to present a one-sided indictment of the state of Israel. The opening presentation featured images of destroyed neighborhoods in Gaza, ignoring the terror tunnels beneath them. It included staged claims like those regarding Muhammad Mutawak, the Gazan child with a genetic disease used as fraudulent proof that Israel is starving Palestinians. A claim debunked by nutritional data but weaponized here to justify ICC warrants. As well as a rewriting of history, the events of October 7th have been systematically scrubbed, replaced by a focus on Israeli massacres. The Qatari Prime Minister's statements reveal a coordinated effort to trap Israel into a permanent state of vulnerability. Doha labels the current situation, the ceasefire, a mere pause. They demand that no true ceasefire exist until a full Israeli withdrawal from every inch of the Gaza Strip, including the strategic Philadelphia and Netzarim corridors. By demanding a total retreat before Hamas is disarmed, they are effectively advocating for the restoration of Hamas's governance. Sheikh Mohammed stated that the root of the conflict is in Judea and Samaria, signaling that a retreat from Gaza is merely the first step in forcing Israel back to the indefensible 1967 lines. The forum repeatedly called for the deployment of an international stabilization force, the ISF. From their perspective, the reason for this force is clear. Turkey's Foreign Minister Hakan Fidan admitted that the main goal is simply to separate Palestinians from Israelis on the border, and is not intended to prevent smuggling of arms or to disarm militants. It is intended to create a human shield of blue helmets, that is the UN forces and so on, that would prevent the IDF from responding to future cross-border fire. It seeks to replace Israeli security control with international bodies that have historically proven unable or unwilling to stop terror. Ahmad Ashara al-Jolani of Syria accused Israel of exporting crisis and using security concerns as an excuse to operate in Syria. It's worth noting that during the night there was an incursion of 3 fronts from Turkey into Syria, where Turkish forces have gone in order to siege and combat Kurdish forces, and Turkey has given the Kurds a deadline of 30 days to integrate themselves into the Syrian government. But going back to Doha, the Syrians seek to characterize Israel's preemptive strikes against Iranian proxies as unprovoked aggression. Saudi Arabian representatives argued that the reform needed for peace is not within the Palestinian Authority, which of course have their pay-to-slay system where they pay terrorists for everyone they kill, and their education is radicalized and worships the terrorists and so on. But actually, it's within the Israeli government. effectively calling for the overthrow of the democratic leadership of Israel. Additionally, the forum provided a microphone for the UN and other NGOs that promote the starvation and genocide blood libels, false famine claims. Despite updated data showing that the famine thresholds were never crossed, speakers like Dr. Jean-Francois Corti and Irene Khan continue to use terms like man-made famine to pressure for international sanctions. There's also the lie of targeting journalists. They accuse the IDF of deliberately targeting reporters to hide the truth, turning tragic casualties of urban warfare, which are of course augmented by Hamas's use of human shields by embedding themselves in civilian population, into a premeditated war crime narrative. In conclusion, the Doha Forum is a warning to every citizen of Israel and every citizen of the West. This is a coalition of mediators who have become prosecutors. They are attempting to, 1, force the IDF withdrawal that would leave the border open for the next October 7th. 2, impose a human shield of international observers to prevent Israel's self-defense. And 3, formalize the recognition of a state for Palestine as a reward for terror. We must reject this framework. A ceasefire without absolute disarmament of Hamas is not peace. It is a surrender to the next war. And yet, we always knew our detractors hate us. But thankfully, our trump card, pun intended, is the US. And in an official document published by the White House titled National Security Strategy 2025, the US officially declares the New World Order it is arranging globally, including a chapter on the Middle East, the highlights of which are: shift in priority, the Middle East is no longer the most central region in American foreign policy as it was for half a century. After the US diversified its global energy sources, there is no interpower struggle between Russia and the US in the region, and the US is distancing itself from forever wars worldwide. This applies to the region as well. Core US interests. The document defines the interests the US will continue to protect in the region. 1. Preventing hostile hegemony, preventing a hostile power from taking over the Middle East, its oil and gas supply, and the global choke points through which they pass, such as the Straits of Hormuz and the Red Sea. All of this, of course, refers to Iran and its proxies. 2. Israeli security, ensuring that Israel remains secure. And 3. Counterterrorism, ensuring the region does not serve as a greenhouse or exporter of terrorism against American interests or the homeland. 4. Expanding peace agreements. The U.S. has a clear interest in expanding the Abraham Accords to additional countries in the region and the rest of the Muslim world. The document presents a situational picture of friction points as seen by the U.S. Iran, the primary destabilizing force in the region, has been significantly weakened due to Israeli action since October 7, 2023, as well as by President Trump's Operation Midnight Hammer in June 2025, which significantly damaged the Iranian nuclear program. The Israeli-Palestinian conflict. Progress has been made towards a more permanent peace, thanks to the ceasefire and the release of hostages achieved through President Trump's negotiation, and the fact that Hamas's primary supporters have weakened or distanced themselves. 3. Syria remains a potential problem, but may stabilize and return to its proper place as a positive player, supported by the US, Arab nations, Israel, and Turkey. Principles of action. The strategy rejects past attempts to force changes on Middle Eastern nations, also known as nation building. The new approach includes mutual acceptance. The key to successful relations with the Middle East is accepting the region, its leaders, and its countries as they are, while cooperating on matters of mutual interest. Self-driven internal reform. The U.S. should encourage and welcome reforms when they emerge organically from within the countries themselves, without attempting to force them from the outside and without harassing these countries, especially the Gulf monarchies, to abandon their traditions. From aid to investment, the region is increasingly becoming a source and destination for international investment beyond oil and gas, in industries such as nuclear energy and artificial intelligence and defense technologies, partnering with Middle Eastern allies to promote economic interests, secure supply chains, and develop open markets in other regions such as Africa. In summary, not a single word in all of that report was about solutions that people tried to force on Israel for half a century regarding Palestinians, in other words, the Oslo Accords, and plenty of references to Israel as a regional partner for the development and investment and prosperity. So while Doha prepares our persecution and prosecution, the U.S. prepares our joint prosperity. We refuse to be victims of a global blood libel. Israel stands tall, defended by strengths and secured by truth. Join us next time for some updates on the situation in Gaza, Bibi's pardon, and much more. Thank you all very much, and God bless you all.